All right. How you doing, Megan?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us, everybody. We're here for our Skeptics to Seekers podcast. I'm Leandra Jackson. This is Megan Parmelee. She is a nurse and string art coach. So take it away. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks, Leandra. Thanks for having me. I am really excited to talk about this method that I came across a little over a year ago. I've always been artistic. I majored fine art in college along with psychology. I've always been fascinated with the brain and science and spirituality, and I've always kind of considered myself a healer in that way and a little bit psychic. So I'm fascinated with all things, relating to neuroscience and how that bridges with science, with spirituality and art and creativity. But I know also that it can be sometimes off-putting to people that, don't really follow a religion, or they have distorted beliefs from their upbringing around organized religion and faith and spirituality and that sort of thing. So I think I've kind of kept that part of me like more to myself. But when I create art, it really brings that out of me. And I just really come into a place where I'm like, everything's connected and it's like love and peace,
Mm-hmm.
The hippiness in me comes out. But I am a mom. I have 6 kids, and I also am really passionate about health and fitness and, raising my family, and earning a good living is essential, for having a big family, and I want to provide as much as I can for them. So anyway, I kind of diverged where I came into string art. I think I was looking at Instagram or something, and I saw somebody doing it. I was like, oh, I want to try that because I love watching the spirals, come, and they do the string and watching the patterns come through. And I've always liked like crochet and doing things with my hands. It's not just string art, but I also got into meditation pretty heavily when I broke my ankle last year, and I found it really helpful for relieving the pain, but I noticed that it had a lot of other benefits too, with regards to my relationships and my motivation and just my energy balance as a whole. And I got back into my creativity, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do string art now, and I'm going to make this a thing. So,
and from a nursing background, it would seem like that would be a really good transition into things, because being a nurse is stressful, especially as a neonatal nurse.
Mm-hmm.
And, having to deal with families that have babies that are, preemies and have different issues coming, being birthed and everything. Having that outlet and that creativity, I feel, is something that's really greatly benefited you.
Yes, it has been it's been just a game changer for me to have that outlet and to give myself that space to learn more about what it is that really gives me that energy to, I really, when I look at it in a way where I can channel my energy into this and see how it comes out, and I can take ownership of it in a way that it's like, yeah, I did that, but I'm also like, it came through me,
Right, exactly. When any good artist makes their art, it's a piece of you.
Yeah.
And you being able to reach out to others that can also put themselves into it, I think will be a blessing to so many. And that's also kind of what we're talking about today. We're talking about reweaving your life through art and awareness, but also with detox, energy. So energy detox and renewals. And I know when I say these certain things, it might feel very physical, but these 3 topics are the level of mind, body, and spirit. And we want to address it as such too, because we're always so stuck in our physical body that we're not thinking about the other aspects that need to be addressed. So this is a topic that helps to address caregivers, entrepreneurs, recovering overachievers. And it's just important to be able to come back into ourselves and know where we sit with these topics. So let's explore what's real, what's helpful, and what's possible. And getting into how the body restores itself and why we fall out of rhythm. So that's so easy to do. A lot of times when I'm talking to clients, they'll say the first thing that goes is the exercise routine, the self-care aspect, because their schedules get so busy. And then what happens? It doesn't come back into play. Like the calendar just doesn't open up. We want to magically see that calendar open up and say, I can fit in my physical activity. I can fit in my meditation right here. But really, we have to make that time. We have to put it in there ourselves. And biologically speaking, we have certain energy cycles when it comes to this. We have to rest. We have to have nourishment. We have to repair. And you might even need to put those in your schedule, right? We might need to schedule when we drink water. Mm-hmm. And, I've known a lot of people to have to drink water in their calendar. They get an alarm. A lot of people have an alarm to take their supplements or their medications.
Yeah.
And, we want to be able to address all of that.
Mm-hmm. Those are all good points. And I think getting into rituals that can help rewire your way of going about your day and remembering the things that you do that are good for you and for lifting up your energy.
Mm-hmm. And it's important to remember that that's what helps you keep healthy. Those are the things that open up the mind, keep the spirit healthy, keep your energy levels going. And a lot of modern disruptions when it comes to that is the amount of stress we have to deal with, screen time, mm-hmm. over productivity, or just busy work. Mm-hmm. So it's like I can easily just sit at my computer and do all kind of busy work all day long. But then
you mentioned the emails the other day, and I really related to that because I will often just want everything to be so before I get to the thing, mm-hmm. that I want to do. And then before I know it, I look at my watch and 2 hours have gone by.
And I didn't get to the thing that was the most important. And I think another part of us not doing that most important part is that's the most thing we don't want to do.
Mm-hmm,
technically.
We're avoiding.
We avoid it because we know that, okay, there's something in this task that I am avoiding. What is that task? But ultimately, that might be our money-making task. Right. That might be our highest productivity task of the day. That might be the task that at the end of the day we say, I did it. I did enough today because mm-hmm. of that one thing that we're avoiding.
Yeah, and even if it's not like in that moment, but mm-hmm. That could be the leverage that
exactly
that you get later on.
Yeah, like think of it as leverage for sure.
Or just the building blocks.
Yeah, exactly. And so when we're also thinking like how creativity and tactile focus help people reconnect to their natural rhythm. When we schedule in that time for ourselves, when we schedule our creativity, when we schedule what we need to do to take care of things, how is that going to affect the natural rhythm of your day or of your life? Because we want to make these things be like a wellness plan for ourselves. We want it to be a lifestyle to enrich our life, not to just say, oh, this week I'm just going to do this, and then you fall off the wagon, so to speak. So with string art, it uses tension, structure, and pattern. And how do these elements mirror what's happening in someone's emotional or energetic life?
Well, when I create with string art, I think a lot in analogies. So you have the foundation, which is the board, and that's like our physical body. And the nails are, they could be different belief patterns that we have or different structures that we have, maybe our job or our marriage or our relationship with our kids, just the different hats that we wear. And the string could be like our emotions, right? And how we navigate through all these different facets of our lives. And are we in flow when we are going through these areas? Are we trying to force things to go the way we want them to go? Or are we tuning into like the energy that comes as a collective and really trying to feel into what is looking to evolve or be brought to the surface?
Yeah, I love that you're depicting each physical aspect of the art to your life, the body, the thing what's going on in your life, and then the emotion. Mm-hmm. And now it makes me want to do one. Her art is beautiful, by the way. You should check her out.
I needed to bring one, and I totally forgot on the way over. I was like, shoot.
Go grab mine. All right, so this is just one of her pieces. And I love how when you look at it, you can see a different pattern in different lighting. Like just seeing the reflection of this, it looks so different than what it does look like on my wall. And so I just love the fact that putting these, like looking at her art, you see so many different patterns.
Yeah, just all the different angles and intersections and colors, the way they come together, and just the act of creating mandalas. You know, our brains crave symmetry, you know, and so that really helps to create balance and remember that, you know, some ancient things, you know, that our bodies know.
Yeah. So I would like to say too that when you are creating these and you're relating it to a certain aspect in your life, and say it's something that you're stressing about, do you find that by the time that you're done with a project and it's this huge thing that you just have been stressing about and worrying about, do you feel like it's minimized or gone just by creating this symmetry?
You know, I really do. I do a lot of thinking and interoception when I'm doing these creations. I like an active meditation where I really kind of try to dissociate myself from my thoughts, my emotions, and get really receptive to just different feelings that might be coming up, you know.
So if you were to be coaching someone through a similar project, how would you do that?
I think that I would help to, well, it's really personal, but I think I have an understanding of how we can get to the root of really what might be going on when we ask the right questions. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I could help clients get to the root of what's really going on, maybe that they don't necessarily see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because somebody looking from the outside in, and while they're like making their pattern, maybe like, why are you making this pattern? Does it have a significance to you? Or what does this color bring up for you? Or something along those lines. And okay, that's cool. So then when it's coming to, okay, now you're dealing with, okay, a schedule, you're stressed, you're feeling like you have to have this creative outlet. And then with this creative outlet or whatever outlet you decide to have, there is a certain amount of detoxification, so to speak. And there is definite science behind detoxing, and there's also misconceptions, because what is it that you think when I say detox?
I think of eliminating things that we don't need anymore.
Right. And we might be thinking on a physiological level, like, okay, I'm going to do a juice cleanse. I'm going to do a full body cleanse. I'm going to eliminate everything that's in my gut. I'm going to detox. But like we were mentioning before, we want to do mind, body, and spirit. And so, yes, detoxification is physiological, even on all three of those planes. Because, okay, I'm going to reference this book that I'm listening to right now. It's called Radical Remission. And I honestly cannot recall the author's name. I'm not very good at that. But Radical Remission, she's a PhD. She did this amazing study for so many different people and so many different healers. And these people have just had radical remission from cancer. In the book, it's talking about very specific things that these people came across and were doing. And 9 specific topics were always coming up. There was like 72 different things that in all were on the list of everybody that she studied, but 9 different things came up. Exercise, personal connections, supplements, positive outlook, being loved. I think that might have been both of them. I'm not sure. There was meditation, energy work. There was a couple more, but in all of these things, and it wasn't just physical. It was very emotional, very energetic. And so when we get something stuck energetically, it builds and festers, and it can turn into God knows what.
Physical.
Yeah, excellently. Like tumors and things like that. So what's overloading our systems? Is it stress? Is it inflammation? Is it emotional residue? How do we detox from those things? We do it physically, we do it emotionally, we do it spiritually. And having a creative outlet is something that we can incorporate into this detoxification process.
Yeah. And not just detox, I think it's important to have a balance between them too. Because I mean, sometimes I'll think, well, I'm just too spiritual. I need to like lay off on all that for a little bit, or I've been hitting the studying too much, or when I'm in work mode, it's just like mental, and you need a break from that too. Or when you stress yourself out in exercise, there's always too much of a good thing.
Yes, there can be. So the balance is so important. And if once you find that right balance, I feel like we have to think of our intuition as well. And in this book, she made a really good point about intuition. So let's think about way back in the day when we were more like hunter-gatherers. Our bodies and brains' intuition sensed danger around the corner. It sensed a tiger is about to jump on you or something along those lines. But the way that our lives have come, that sense has been drastically diminished. And that sense is our intuition. Our body is intuitively telling you, okay, this is going to happen and we need to be prepared for it, or this is what I need to do for myself in order to heal myself. And beings that we have such a quick gratification type of society, that intuition has been greatly diminished, and we don't tend to listen to it very well.
Right.
So think of yourself as, back in the day, what would your deep intuition, what is that little voice, what is that little Jiminy Cricket telling you that you are not listening to, right?
Yeah.
And from your nursing background, what does detox actually mean inside the body? And what are the biggest misconceptions that you see?
Inside the body, well, I think that we can sometimes be misguided by listening to other people and what they think is the best for your body. But really, you're only the one that knows. So it's getting to be more in tune with what is really going to be good for your body personally.
Absolutely. That has to do with the intuition, I think, too. It's so important to know, like, okay, yes, you want to trust the people who are in your life to give you the best advice, but that may not necessarily be what your higher self is telling you, what your intuition is telling you is the best. And when we can trust that, I feel like there can be an exponential amount of healing.
Yes.
So the heart of your coaching practice, string art is a map of energy and life balance, like how you were just talking about, with a good balance. So tell me a little bit about how the string art reveals patterns, and then we'll go into the next question.
Okay. Well, I think that it really helps to bring you into your center. So when I practice string art, I remember that I kind of drop into this space where I'm like, I'm not necessarily my body or my personality or what I'm feeling or thinking at that moment. I'm just this present moment, and I'll get still and I'll follow my breath, and I'll really just feel into what it is that is looking to unfold.
Yeah, I love that you brought up the present moment, because we're so stuck in either the past or what's going to happen next, and not really comfortable in the present moment. We're waiting, or we're thinking, or we're just planning, and could be dwelling. I mean, there's so many things that we do other than being completely present.
Yeah.
And that is so important. And we have to think of it as the present. It truly is a present, like a gift. And if we can sit in that, whether it's through a creative project, which you have to be. I mean, look how intricate this is. You can't not be present in this. You can't just be like, oh, you're thinking about other stuff, because then it's going to look like a hot mess. You got to be present. And
well, I study a lot about like sacred geometry and just the formation that comes in nature. Like when you look at shells, or the patterns in the earth that are made, when you go up in space and you just see all the different patterns that nature imposes into the earth.
Yeah, so beautiful. I love that. And so, you have lots of lines, intersections, tension of the string, the structure. How can your clients process what they're feeling through all of this? I mean, like, how do you do it? I mean, you did kind of touch on that already. Yeah. Like, you're not necessarily, let me backtrack a little bit. So you were saying that you're present in the moment and you're in a meditative state.
Yes.
And yeah, that is a good place to be.
Yeah. So I'm very interested in like channeling and just kind of feeling the energy that comes through, because I think of energy, I think of it as just like subatomic, and it's not always what you can see or touch with your five senses. So it's like,
yeah, I love that. So,
and when you drop into the meditative states, that's when time and space kind of go away. That's when you really get those intuitive downloads and information that comes through that maybe wouldn't when you're not in your monkey mind and you're really trying to force an outcome or think something to go a certain way.
I love that. Yes. So say that one more time. You were saying that when you're in monkey bind and you're like you're transitioned into, you just said a really beautiful word and it just escaped my brain immediately.
Well, I'm thinking about like transcendental meditation, where you were
download. You were like the knowledge download, the intuitive download.
When you're in the shower and you just think of an idea, like it just comes to you. That sort of happens to me all the time when I'm doing string art.
Okay. Yes, that's a really good analogy, because people might be like, well, what is she talking about? And it's more. Or let's say when you're just driving and you're just kind of mindlessly driving and your muscle memory is just bringing you home, and you just like something pops into your brain. You're like, oh gosh, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
These are the kinds of downloads we're talking about. These are the kinds of things that can help your spirit, your energy, like cleanse and detox and be alive.
Yeah. And learning to really trust it as, because sometimes you question it,
Absolutely.
You're like, is that for me, or is that something I just picked up from somewhere else,
or like you said, our upbringing, our religious ideologies. Those are the things that I love God. I have a wonderful higher power, and I feel like there has been a time in my life that a very strict religious aspect held me back from certain things and certain thought processes. So just keep an open mind. You don't have to let go of your religion. You don't have to let go of your spirituality, whatever you're believing. But just understand that it doesn't have to be so rigid. there is a whole nother side of our spirit that wants to communicate and connect with us. And it's us. We are part of God. We are part of everything. And that communicates to us.
Mm-hmm.
And by doing these creative outlets, you can allow that to happen and trust it and listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
Blend clinical experience with creative coaching. How did you discover that string art could help people understand their energy and life balance?
I think just by doing it, I hold a lot of hats. You know, I have 6 kids ranging from 3 to 18 and just all the life stages. And I have a husband and a career in nursing, which is like my bread and butter, you know. And so I remember to have gratitude for all that stuff. And I remember like what's the most important to me. Mm-hmm. Those are the things. Mm-hmm. So I'm doing this for them, you know.
What do you remember how you felt the first time you did a piece?
Yeah, I remember feeling like, well, this is really, really cool. Like it kind of marks a moment where I'm just like making a sign, kind of like a stamp. Like this is when I started my business, you know, because that's kind of like where it started.
Yeah. And you just felt like this is it.
Yeah.
Like this was the missing piece.
Yeah. I think I just felt like just a knowing, like I want to make this into something more than just a board.
Yeah.
Like I want to do more of these and share it.
Okay. Excellent.
Because it also reminds me of just like the potential, not just of art, but the potential that we all have to do anything really, you know?
Yeah. I love that. And when it comes to being able to process the stress, understand our stress, and then have the downloads because now we're detoxing, now we're eliminating that stress, we need to renew as well. And that renewal practice is real. Like we can't just open up all all the wounds and then not have a process to come back and find a new, you might find a whole new path. You might find a whole new relationship.
Right.
You might find that you're just a whole new person. So, we want to make it practical, doable tools.
Yes. And also feeling safe is a big number one thing too, because it can be really destabilizing when you really start to look into like shadow work and that sort of thing, or uncovering things that don't feel great, and then there's spiritual bypassing, or people can go into like a healing crisis, so it's learning the tools to really integrate and bring back like practical wisdom to integrate it into your everyday life and not just like know it, but really practice it.
Yeah, kind of like if you've dealt with a trauma and you've learned that, okay, this specific thing is a trigger and I know how to handle that trigger and I know how to move past it. Instead of just keeping it wide open and always having a response, you want to bring your parasympathetic system into balance. And having an outlet like this could really do that. I mean, a lot of people that have dealt with trauma really need to work with their hands.
Yeah.
And so having something to work with your hands on is a
healing. It's very healing.
Yes. So there are some really practical ways that you can bring this balance and this renewal is move your body. Try to move at least every hour. If you're in a desk all the time, get up and stand up and march in place. If that's all that you can do, just do it. Stretch in your desk office, something like that. An emotional reset option, like you were talking about meditation, a great way to have an emotional reset, emotional balance and renewal is meditation. And then of course your creative outlet, string art, yarn, drawing, anything that's tactile. And, we just want to make sure that we're having space for all of these mind, body, spirit when it comes to our energy and our detoxification pathways, and then renewing all of that.
Yeah. And having self-compassion.
Yes, don't forget that. Yes, absolutely. And because we're going to come to a time where, man, there was so many years where I would just think of my past and say, God, I was so stupid. Why did I do that? And just beat myself up. You know, and I think so many of us do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I even heard my son saying that the other day, and it was something about being a kid. And he's like, I was such a dumb kid and I was so annoying. And I'm just like, but you were a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and that part of you still needs to be loved.
Yeah.
And it's so important to think of that. Even any part of you in your lifetime, no matter how annoying or bad or silly or bad decisions you made, that part of you still needs to be loved. And so that self-compassion is so important.
For sure.
So let's just, we want to make sure that you guys have a challenge too. So create a 24-hour challenge for yourself. Do something that helps you get good energy. So put it in your calendar that you're going to do some movement or something along those lines. Something that's going to help you detox, whether it's physical, mental, mind, spiritual, and then something that's going to help renew you from that. Because when you're feeling like detoxing, so to speak, there could be a lot of emotions involved in that.
And I'm also a big proponent of heart-brain, like heart math and heart-brain coherence, and the integration of the 3 energy centers that we have. We have our sacral, where our life force energy comes from, and it communicates with our heart center, and that in turn to our head center. And just really finding tools and techniques that work for you that can get the energy flowing through these centers, like in a balanced way.
Absolutely. And if you don't know,
and creative, doing this with bringing out the creativity and also the joy and like the lightheartedness of it can really help, I think.
Absolutely.
It takes some of the more out of the denser emotions that are weigh us down.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you are not really sure if one of those energy centers are stuck for you, think of how you're feeling physically in that area. Think of okay, if you have a lot of low back pain, or let's say you're a woman and you have a lot of premenstrual symptoms or leg pain or foot pain, that might be that lower energy level that needs to be cleared, that needs to be paid attention to. And let's say you have asthma or anxiety that you feel in the chest or something along those lines, you get chest pains, then that heart center, energetic center might need to be addressed. Or say you get migraines, you have ocular migraines, you have jaw pain, you have teeth problems, ear problems, anything associated with the head, then that higher element of energy needs to be addressed. So it can all relate to the physical side of things. If you have no idea what we're talking about, come back to your physical self and then listen to your body, see what your intuition is telling you, and reach out to somebody. If you don't know, reach out to one of us. We would love to help you. So where can people find you?
I am currently in the process of getting a website up where you can find all my art that I've created. And I am on Instagram and Facebook, Megan Parmelee or sacredstrings.art.
Okay, fabulous. So look her up, look at her art. It's beautiful. Reach out to Megan if you want to get a session, talk about it, anything like that. And we thank you. We love you for joining us. And do you have anything else to add?
This has been great. I really appreciate your knowledge on the topics of energy and healing and how we can share it with everyone. So I really appreciate your platform.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Megan. Thank you so much, everybody. We love you. Namaste.
All right.